Welcome to a Nerdbox review about the Space Hulk game we did a couple of weeks ago, although...
I think it was last month, actually.
Yeah, well, you'll just be seeing this today or when it's uploaded.
Yeah.
So anyway, things we got wrong. I think I was at a disadvantage because I couldn't get as many shots out, and straight up Shane was getting 2s and 3s with Gene Stealers.
I think that's an advantage when I'm getting 2s and 3s. I mean, 2s and 1s.
Not for me.
No, I was getting 2s and 1s. You're the one getting 3s.
No, man, at the start of the battle, you got a lot of 2s and 3s.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
That first one, the one where I was the Space Marines.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Alright, well, first of all, if you ever played the game, we've gotten a few of the rules wrong. He was already at a disadvantage because there was a few free shots he could have gotten off. Then there's Overwatch. Now, when a Space Marine's in Overwatch and he misses his target, he still gets that sustained fire dice because he hasn't moved and he's making a second shot at the same target, which means on Overwatch you get that 5+.
I really don't like that. It's 5+ to kill a Gene Stealer and they just keep running at you until they die.
Yeah, I know.
There's the possibility they won't die.
It's better than that 6+, that's for sure.
Oh, the 6+.
So I think we should go into the tactics.
First thing I noticed, when you played as Space Marines, the difference was you ran straight for the first door and opened it.
Now, I was quite lucky. I think I rolled a 3 or a 2 and then I re-rolled for like a 6 or a 5. So yeah, I got like a huge advantage with the running down that hallway, bang. So as a Space Marines, man, you want to just keep moving. It's a game about rushing to those strategic points. And as the Space Marines, you just want to like try and get the best strategic point, go on Overwatch, shoot Gene Stealers as they come around corners.
Another difference between when you played as Space Marines and I played as Gene Stealers was you put yourself in a position where you had 2 hallways watched, especially that long hallway where the Gene Stealers couldn't get in front.
Yeah.
So I had to quickly sacrifice Gene Stealers until you missed a shot so then I could move up more.
Yeah, I think I did use that tactic once where I think I sacrificed about 3 Gene Stealers to make you use all your command points so that you couldn't unjam your weapons anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about command points, you can actually use a command point to perform any action as long as the Space Marine that's performing that one action has seen Gene Stealer take an action itself. So it's sort of like Overwatch, where if a Gene Stealer opens up a door or it moves, a Space Marine can then use a command point to perform an action out of turn, whether it be moving or even moving backwards, which costs 2 points. I guess a good tactic would be, I don't know how it would work because you would be at a disadvantage to start off with. You could use the Space Marine's full action points for movement, and then when you saw the first Gene Stealer move, you could then spend just 1 command point instead of 2 to then put it in Overwatch on the Gene Stealer's turn. Now you do miss that first shot where it saw it move because it wasn't on Overwatch when it happened. Say you've got a Gene Stealer running at you and you don't want him to touch you and you take like an Overwatch shot, I'm guessing you could probably spend 1 point and try and move backwards 1 square, but the problem with that is that anytime you take an action that's not part of your Overwatch or shooting, like unjamming, then it cancels your Overwatch. So once the Space Marine performs an action that's not related to that when he's on Overwatch, he loses that ability.
The command points were all good.
Yeah.
Especially when you were rolling like 6s a lot for your command points.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
I did look at the video recently and it did look like I was rolling very high with those command points and getting a huge advantage. The only disadvantage I had was pulling out of a lot of Gene Stealers.
Way more than you were. I was getting a lot of 3s and 2s, lots of them.
I think you can tell by the score. You look at the different scores. I might have a look at that again, but I think Ashley only scored 18, 20. And then I got like almost 30.
Terminator as the Gene Stealers, except for Zales. Zales was amazing because Zales just ran up and took the mission. If he hadn't have popped that, I think he only had 2 left, and he popped 1 flamer to stop my Gene Stealers from getting to him, and then he popped the other flamer into the cat unit.
There was 1 point where you forgot to move a Gene Stealer. You left him in a corner.
Yeah.
And he could have actually attacked Zale. I did put him on guard, so I mean that I could have lost the game at that point if you had have remembered to move the Gene Stealer.
I probably should have. I don't know, I can't remember, but I think he was still blocked because you shot 2 bits.
No, I went to shoot it there to block him, but then I realised I'd be blocking my own movement, so I shot away and I risked having you charge my Space Marine. I think you would have only got 1 or 2 attacks against me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was willing to risk that. Don't know if I should have, but it worked out because I actually didn't move in. Now, what about the Gene Stealers?
When I played them and when you played them, we moved them right. Like, we didn't do... The best strategy that I did was probably to keep sacrificing Gene Stealers, like I said before, to get those other Gene Stealer markers out and flip them, and then have more Gene Stealers to run at you with.
Yeah, so like you're trying to use up Gene Stealers to either
block me or get to you,
or make me jam my weapon.
Yeah,
and keep that jam on.
Which you never did. Because
oh no, it did work a few times actually.
Well, you didn't jam as much as I did.
Yeah.
I suck at that game.
Yeah, I also noticed that, like Ashley was doing, he was like keeping the one in the front. He was just sitting it there, moving them all up the back. Another tactic that he did, he only moved them up 3 squares. He only risked 3 shots while he waited for backup to come up to those Gene Stealers, you know? So he was thinking about, oh, if I only give him 3 shots, that's an advantage that Space Marines have. With Overwatch, you can basically give a Space Marine, you know, all those free shots moving in front of them. Anytime you take an action, you turn around, you open up a door.
Close combat. Didn't happen much, but when it happened for me, I got slaughtered.
Oh, come on. What about Zale, man?
Oh,
How many Gene Stealers did he take down in close combat? Like
that was
3
actually pretty impressive. He took down 4 Gene Stealers on my game until he actually took down Zale's.
Yeah.
But during your game, I just kept throwing... I think I killed all your Space Marines except for Zale's.
Yeah, you did. You killed all of them except for Zale.
My plan was to just keep running at you with Gene Stealers until they died or you got killed so much. And that actually worked out well for me because I tend to find that I don't do well as a shooty guy, but I'm awesome in close combat. My rolls are always good in close combat, but they are never good when it comes to shooting. And that goes for Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, Hordes, War Machine. They are all just, you know... I don't do well when I shoot. The dice rolls aren't with me, but in close combat, I will just rip you apart.
Actually, yeah, you probably will see Ashley roll pretty pathetically. I say those black dice are cursed, man.
I say all my dice are cursed. Or the dice gods just don't like me at all.
Anyway, talking about close combat, that reminds me. By actually attacking a Space Marine in Overwatch on close combat, you actually void his Overwatch as well, because he's taking an action that's not part of shooting. Yeah. So that's another tactic that Gene Stealers can use to like try and off-put the Space Marines. Run a Gene Stealer up, as long as you hit him once, you could run as many other Gene Stealers up behind him. With the Gene Stealers, you always want to try and attack from the back because basically you can only tie. The Space Marine can only tie, he can't beat you. If he's facing you and he wins, he'll kill you, but if he ties and if he wins and he's facing the opposite way or sideways, he's then allowed to turn and face you if you're going to attack him again or something. So attack the back, you won't die.
Another good strategy is cover. What you want to do is keep a lot of Gene Stealers in cover, wait for the Space Marines to come near you, and just rush them with everything you got.
Just keep pushing them out.
Just keep pushing them out. But don't get into a point where you can't flip your tokens and bring out Gene Stealers.
Yeah.
Because you'll be in the same position I was in the second game where I had to sacrifice Gene Stealers so I could get the tokens out and flip them.
Yeah.
Best idea is to just get them out as fast as possible and just flip those tokens.
Now, to counter that as Space Marines, I did realise then that if you've got a guy and he's looking down a hallway and there's a Gene Stealer around the corner, if the Gene Stealer is only going to pop round the corner and be in close combat range, or like even 2 squares, probably better off not going in Overwatch. You're probably better off just choosing guard, because the guard actually gives you 2 dice. Theoretically, you get to re-roll failed dice. Theoretically, it gives you 2 rolls. So that means a Gene Stealer will only have 3 rolls. You'll have 2. If your first one isn't higher than his highest, you get to roll again, which is what Ashley did a few times with Zale.
Zale's was awesome.
Oh, Zale was awesome in that battle, yeah.
I really thought he was going to die straight away. Keep alive.
Keep alive.
Keep alive. If you're Space Marines, just keep alive. If you have to stay in the one spot for a while... No.
Just keep moving. That's what I did. All my Space Marines died.
If they have a lot of... If the Gene Stealers...
Except for Zale.
Except for Zale. If the Gene Stealers outnumber you, if you have to stay in the same spot, stay in it for like maybe 2 turns and then quickly move on as soon as you've dealt with as many Gene Stealers as possible.
Oh, actually, that's pretty bad advice. Every turn you're not moving means that the Gene Stealers are taking more board space. If the Gene Stealers are taking more board space, that's less board space for you to actually take.
But when I mean stay in the one spot, don't stay in the first room like I did. Try and get to the second room, so then you can block all ways, have line of sight to all different ways, so then the Gene Stealers can't flip as many tokens. If you have to stay in that room for like maybe a turn or two, do that, so then you can get Zales to run straight up.
I reckon a turn would be alright. I mean, I think I even sacrificed like 1 turn in a few
which was a
rooms.
really good tactic, because when I was outnumbering you, you stayed there, and you were able to deal with a lot of Gene Stealers doing that. So that was actually a really good tactic in keeping alive.
Yeah, you still want to like creep forward a little bit, but
creep forward to a point where you still got command and action points left to shoot if you need be. Don't stay in the first room though.
It's not a tactical advantage.
If you're going to stay in the first room, at least open the door like Shane did. Because then you got line of sight down that hallway and you block Gene Stealers.
Oh, another thing I could have, or well, anyone could have done is actually run down the hallway to that spawning point close to the Space Marines. If you can get there, you're six squares away from a spawning point. The Gene Stealers have to actually lurk there for a whole turn before they're actually allowed back onto the board. That's an interesting rule. I didn't think of that one. But yeah, I don't think any of us got that close to spawning point.
But I reckon if you do have to stay in the one spot, make sure it's not the first room, because it is a terrible place to stay.
Yeah.
Because you can get swarmed really quick. The best advice tactically is to get out of that room as fast as possible, because the Gene Stealers will come all the way up. And if they've got 3 tokens per Gene Stealer like Shane had at the start of the match, you're in big trouble. Because then...
Yeah, it is nice and cozy.
It does feel safe, but it's not.
It's not safe.
It's not safe. It actually is. It just wastes game time.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Yeah. We'll bring you more videos as soon as possible.
I know I promised the Lizard Man versus Ogres video. I don't know whether this one's going to go up first, but yeah.
Whatever goes up first goes up first.
Yeah, looks like this one might be episode 4.
Yeah. And I'm getting a very important model, the last centerpiece model for my Horde soon, and I'll be doing an unboxing video for that.
Oh yeah, saw me unboxing Hordes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so we're going to do a few videos on Hordes. Ashley's got pretty much a whole
Legion of
Everblight.
I've just got to get the Gargantuan and then I'm done. So pretty exciting.
You just spoiled the...
not a surprise, people. You know, the last thing...
It's like the last centerpiece.
The last thing you get is your Gargantuan or Colossus. Yeah. If you get it first, you're very silly, because it's a waste of money and it's like 20 points to field. 18 to 20 points to field.
You might understand that a little bit later if you're not a Hordes player when we explain it.
Hordes is pretty good though.
Alright.
Alright, we will see you later.
Comment!